Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
It is 11:01 on a Wednesday, and you're riding with The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Nielson back in the chair with you. We got the oil stream coming up at noon today. Lots to discuss after the big win yesterday for the Edmonton Oilers. Desperately had to have it, and in desperate fashion, managed to get it. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us if you want to chime in. We're going to talk NHL. We're going to talk NFL trades. We're going to talk some CFL, Major League Baseball playoffs. Tons to get to on The Lock Shop today. And yes, you can text us anytime as well. 780-218-9999 if you are listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can join us. And yes, I did get a haircut since the morning show ended today. And it was YouTube Trev, of course, who recognized it. Nobody guesses haircuts like YouTube Trev guesses haircuts. It's as simple as that. Now, this one was of somewhat significance. I mean, I had quite a bit actually taken off. But it feels good. It feels good to go and have a conversation with somebody between shows. It really does. It was a lot of fun. The Lock Shop, as always, brought to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. If you've not yet signed up for an account at Coolbet, do so today. Go to Coolbet.com. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, and you can hop in for the fun. Stay cool. Bet responsibly with our partners over at Coolbet. Tango's asking, where is Huss? It's with a heavy heart. I do pass along that Huss has resigned from the Lock Shop. He says WST is now a mortal enemy of EST, and he will not be joining us anymore. Just kidding. Let's bring him in. There he is. Huss, there'll never be such a day.
Hell no, bro. Hell no. Even if listen, you guys are all in a much better mood. If the Oilers were 0-4 and had to sit here talking, have me come in, pumping the tires of the 3-0 Jets, maybe there would have been beef, but no, there's not. There's not. All is well again in Edmonton after the big game last night. You know what? Did you get a haircut before or after the game?
I got a haircut this morning.
Oh, okay, so it was after the game. Already? Wow.
Yeah, man. Look, man, I get up early. We finished the show at 9:00. I did some stuff, some prep for the Lock Shop, and then I was like, I got a little bit of time. And I had to get a haircut. It was getting too long for CFL on weekends. So I was just like, you know what? I'll whip down. I swear to God, I got to Mr. Barber at like 9:35. I was back in the car at 10:02. I just turned it around. A masterpiece. It's brilliant.
Appointment or walk-in?
No appointment. Walk-in. Got a guy who was wearing like an Edward Scissorhands vest. I looked at him. I was like, I've never seen this before. He had like all of his tools in here. He goes, well, now I don't have to reach over. I can just boom, 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 boom. This guy, and he was talking sports. Like it was like he was reading my mind. He's a little bit of a chatty guy. I was just like, okay, it's going to be one of these. That's fine. But he was like, I was at the Oilers game last night. I was like, perfect. So we talked about that for a bit. And then he's like, what do you do? I said, well, I do this. He goes, that's awesome. Then I can't remember, we talked about something else. And then he goes, I swear to God, I don't know if I wasn't wearing any of my Lakers stuff, but he goes, do you think Bronny's ready? And I thought, you're asking me about LeBron James's son while I'm getting a haircut? This is amazing. And I told him, no, he's probably got to be in the G League for like 2 to 3 years. So then we had that conversation. And then we talked about other G Leaguers. It was just, and then I was out of there. I was back here at the office by 10:15. Legendary morning.
Amazing. You know what? We are go-getters. I often don't have mornings even in the realm of you, but I have been back at the studio for maybe 45 seconds before I was able to pop in.
What were you up to?
I was at BP Polo Park today, and you know what? This is a nice little treat for WSTers that tune into the Lock Shop. I was recording a video for our great beer sponsor here in Winnipeg, Little Brown Jug, Manitoba's favorite local beer. They're now on the taps at some of the BPs. So we are doing a launch WST Jets watch party on October 30th. So they're all over it, the social media. So we did a video for it this morning, bunch of stuff. And then I had just enough time to pop into Hoagie Boys to grab a sandwich. Unfortunately, I have no time to eat it, and then there'll be WST and then CFL 110. So I'm going to be staring at this thing probably till about 4:30.
Oh, that's the worst.
Listen, there might be a bite or two during the odd clip playing, but Yes, it has been quite busy. And just a quick note on talking about Bronny. I did get sent something yesterday, which just cracked me up. Big Justice from the Costco guys, the Boom Song, the kid, he's averaging 2 points per game in the NBA preseason from his bucket in the Knicks game, and Bronny's averaging 1 point per game in the NBA preseason. So Big Justice gets the boom, and Bronny gets the doom, I would say, for it so far. It's what a world.
Bronco Nick is in and says Dusty looks like he's taking grade 8 pictures in junior high school today. That's a good point.
This is one of your best cuts ever, to be honest. Like it actually looks, a little tight on the sides. Still got the flow. I mean, you're going to be. What games are you doing this weekend?
I got the BC Lions game. Flying to Vancouver tomorrow after the show. So BC Lions, or not tomorrow. Sorry, I got my days mixed up. Friday. I'm leaving Friday. But yeah, no, I think it's. I would agree. I think it's one of my most stylish cuts ever.
I think people are going to. I think people are going to have some fun with that. You're going to be getting plenty of comments. The TSN people, you know what? Finally, Dusty gets. He's not just a great play-by-play guy. He's a bit of a hunk too.
Who do I think I am? Kyle Bukauskas? And he always says a high and tight. That's what I'm feeling like. I said to my guy, I sat down, I said, "Give me the Bukauskas. Let's do it. Let's get it done." No, I like it. We'll see what. All that really matters is what my wife thinks. I think she'll probably like it. I mean, I've pretty much had the same haircut for 43 years.
You might not like it because you may getting into a Gazzola territory with women throwing themselves at you because of your new cut.
It does make sense. It does make sense. Okay, so I want to get to this. We're going to get to the NFL trades, talk some CFL. They're going back to VA. One thing I thought might be a fun task today is not necessarily looking at Grey Cup odds, but we should power rank the playoff teams. We should definitely do that, right? I think that'll be a fun conversation. I've got that written down here as well. If you need any fantasy advice today, we can definitely get into that here on a Wednesday. So hit us up, 780-218-9999 over in the Nasty Chat. But, Hostile, you might see Mark in the chat there. He goes, when McDavid purposely misses the breakaway to help us win the parlay, what a feeling. So, EST parlay yesterday, we go into overtime needing a Draisaitl goal, needing another point from McDavid, and the Oilers win. And sure enough, Draisaitl from McDavid in overtime, and we cashed the EST parlay. And then last night, I tweeted out after the first period and watching the game, sometimes you just get a feel. I was like, we're live betting the Oilers right now at plus 230 to come back and win this game when they were down 2-0. And I did, and I know some other people rode with, and they came back and won the game. So we cashed that as well. That was a monumental regular season lock shop overtime winner last night. Let's just say it how it is. That's what it was.
Who knew we needed it so bad in game 4 of an 82-game season? I don't know who needed it more, the lock shop or the Oilers. I'm going to probably say the Oilers because we have had a nice last month. However, we were terrible last night with the rest of the rest of the NHL.
I mean, shut out the Flames, I guess. But outside that, I apologize on the puck line. Luckily, Vancouver had ruined the parlay already, so I didn't feel as bad as I should have. But Stars win. They go to 4-0, but they don't cover the puck line against San Jose. I was wrong on that one, and I thought I was going to feel awful, but the parlay also being blown earlier by Vancouver helped me a little bit.
Yeah, and I was on Vancouver. That they're 0-1-2, which I don't mind at all. Like, this is the thing. I mean, if we were going to have a losing bet, let it be on the Canucks, who are winless on the season, 1-2. Vegas lost to the Capitals, which was nice to see. I would have loved to have seen Columbus get the win last night. Pretty cool scene.
They sure did that good though, didn't they? That was just well done.
They really did. Great buy-in from the Panthers as well, being on side for all of that. Did not like the Wild getting a win last night. But I'm totally here for the offseason champions. Raise the banner. Nashville Predators giving up 7 at home to the Seattle Kraken. After all that money that my pal Barry Trotz spent, he could have come here and had free beer for life. No, he's throwing out the cash on Broadway in Nashville. And
what a pitch. What a pitch. He could have come here and had free beer for life. I know that was a thing. But it's still funny to me.
That was one of the most hilarious hilarious things in WST history. The way we put that out, and it literally, like, that did go viral. I mean, every single place was picking this up, and then of course everyone tried to jump on. Oh, we're gonna give you a free washer and dryer, Barry, from the appliance place, and how about free whatever? And it was always about the beer, but even the beer for Barry Trotz. By the way, Barry Trotz, this is just a very quick aside. He is the real one, man. He's from Dauphin, Manitoba, like way out west. During this summer, they were hosting the Manitoba Games, which I'm not sure if you guys had this in Alberta, but it's actually a really big deal. Like every summer, kids, like, usually I think it's kind of like 13 to 15 maybe or something like that. There's, I don't know, 9 or 10 sports, soccer, whatever. Manitoba Games takes over Dauphin, and this is a small town. So it's all hands on deck. Everyone is volunteering. Everyone is helping. And so they have a big sort of social hall as well. Friend of mine fires me a pic. This is like in late July, early August. He's sitting there getting a beer at the social. Who's bartending? Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz bartending the Manitoba Games social beer hall right now. So anyways, I do like Barry, but I'm here for the Predators losing. And it would have been nice if the Sharks, if they were not going to lose on the puck line, could have maybe beat Dallas. But Dallas right now, 4-0. The Flames are 4-0.
The Flames are 4-0, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. They won again. I think Rasmus Anderson leads the league in points or something like that. Eric brought that up today. Let's see.
What's his next contract going to be?
Man, when's he up? What's his deal?
I think
he must lead defense. Yeah, he leads the league in plus minus at +7. Where is he in points? Tied for 7th in points with 6. And he does lead all defensemen in scoring so far with 6 points.
Rasmus Anderson has one more year at 4.55.
Oh.
I'm telling you right now, that might be the best contract in the league right now.
He's going to get paid big time. I mean, that's at least 8, I would think, on the open market, at least.
Yeah, the sad thing, and he's such a big part of Calgary, and like being in Winnipeg, it's so important that you keep your own guys. Just where they're at right now, which is first place, actually. I mean, big picture. I mean, if they go back to where people think that they're going to be, are they going to be able to keep him? But man, you want to talk about a trade chip. I mean, with another year, if they dealt him during the season or at the deadline, and you got Rasmus Anderson for the playoffs and next year, and the opportunity to sign him at $8 million, I mean, that will dwarf any of the other trades that they've made, and frankly, most of the other trades we've seen in recent NHL history of guys going. I'm a huge Anderson fan. He's the total package right now. But the Flames are a hell of a story right now. They're I kind of like it. Teams that are totally written off, that all of a sudden go up. We don't care what everyone's saying about us.
Yeah,
we'll go out and win our games. Now, do they have the talent to really compete throughout the year? We will see. But it's been a really interesting season, a really early part of the season. I mean, the Oilers got off the schneid last night with the comeback. That's a big, big win. And
you know who they get next, right? The off-season champs in Nashville tomorrow night.
Wow.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl usually owns the Nashville Predators. So we'll see. Like, that's a weird game. Nashville, I haven't watched Nashville yet, so I don't got a hot take on why they're struggling. But I'm very interested to see that one with an 0-3 Nashville Predators team. So that should be good. That'll be tomorrow. We'll set that up tomorrow. I'll just get to Thursday Night Football tomorrow as well. 4 games tonight, Huss. I'll bring up the starting goalies. A little bit of it's a Wednesday night schedule in the National Hockey League. This is probably what you're usually looking at. Just 4 games tonight. You're starting goaltenders, and we'll put something together. I see Jake over in the chat says, guys, I'm here for the parlay building. That is your role. I know the DGen Den. What did somebody say? Yeah, Duck Dad says the DGen Den parlay is being mixed up before it even hits the oven. So we'll see what that crew comes up with again. Got to ride with the DGen Den. Again.
Let him cook.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will start for the Buffalo Sabres, fresh off of practice fight. We'll see if that changes anything. Pittsburgh Penguins Tristan Jarry. Anthony Stolars will start for the Leafs. Dave Riddick, big save day for the Kings. Unconfirmed Swayman for the Bruins going up against Colorado. Georgiev likely to start there until they can find someone better. And then Connor Ingram and Lucas Dostal unconfirmed for Utah and the Ducks tonight. Is there a post-practice fight bump, Huss, for the Sabres?
Well, I hope there is. I got a soft spot for Buffalo. Buffalo's another one of those teams. I mean, you want to talk about long-suffering fans? That's Buffalo Sabres. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Kings. Where are they? Like 2-2 right now? Or they started off with those 2 losses. Let me just find Buffalo. Oh no, they're 1-3.
Yeah, they've only got the 1 win. That's what I was looking up. They only got the 1 win.
You know what? I am buying into the post-practice fight bump.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is 2-2. I mean, they're outside of Sidney Crosby, I'd say they're a pretty mid team.
With the exception of Puljujarvi, obviously.
Puljujarvi. Well, hey.
2 points.
Perfect. You know what? They just needed the Rucker McGroarty to get sat in the press box to get Eller and Puljujarvi going.
That must have been a joyous day for Winnipeg Sports Talk, eh?
Dude, it was hilarious, man. So, we start the show yesterday. Coming off the long weekend. 2 big wins for the Jets. Jets are 3-0. Bombers lose to the Argos. I mean, there's so much stuff going on with our teams. I look into the chat. Half of the comments for the first 10 minutes were like, McGroarty was benched. McGroarty's in the press box. Our first WST game, by the way, Winnipeggers, if you haven't got your tickets for that, Sunday afternoon, join us. WinnipegJets.com/WST. Click on the link. All 6 games are up, but we want you there for the Sunday game because we're celebrating Brian Little retiring as a Winnipeg Jet. And he's actually going to be coming on WST the next couple of days. Really looking forward to that. But we were also hoping to give a very warm Winnipeg welcome back to Rucker McGroarty. And, I know he didn't play here, so there won't be the tribute video happening
not even
on
the draft?
screen.
Not even the draft announcement?
We'll have our own WST tribute video, which is a combination of all the things he said. He always wanted to play for the Jets, everything. He gave us plenty of material. Just in conversations with me on WST, never mind everything else that he said. So we got plenty of ammo for that. Sunday afternoon, it's going to be a fun one. I kind of wish it wasn't a 2 p.m. game on Sunday because the Chiefs are playing the Niners at 3:35. But don't worry. You know what? That's why you have a phone. You keep an eye on it. You PVR the game.
What I don't understand is you're like business partners with the Jets. How do they not say to the National Hockey League, no scheduling conflicts with the Kansas City Chiefs because of our partner, Huss?
Listen, that would be nice. I would take that. I'm far more concerned about ridiculous, insane scheduling conflicts with the Bomber home opener and potentially the West Final. Don't even get me going on this. This city's not big enough to have 32,000 people. And if anyone was wondering why they were 400 short of a sellout, well, another 15, 20,000 Jet fans were at the Bomber game. So anyways, that is maybe my biggest pet peeve. And I hope the thing is, it would be nice if we were talking about this if the Bombers took care of business on the weekend, because the Jets are playing the Dallas Stars, one of the biggest games of the year at home, big time divisional rival. That's supposed to be at the exact same time, essentially, as the West Final. So we were hoping that game would get moved earlier in the day. Precedent has been set in the past for it. But anyways, I guess we will see. But anyways, I'm Buffalo.
The other thing I was going to throw, what about Utah? I mean, Utah seems to have a bit of a vibe going right now. They're going in Anaheim to play the Ducks. It's minus 149. What have the Ducks started with so far this year? Let's see.
The Quack Attack is 1-1. It's kind of weird. They've only played the 2 games. Their
one win was against the Sharks,
and they lost to the Golden Knights. This is their home opener bump. But until further notice, against bottom feeding teams like the Ducks, I'm in on Utah. I would be more than happy to take Utah. And listen, the game that I want to talk to you about, Boston at Colorado.
What's the team total on the Bruins here? 3.5 probably.
The team total.
Over 2.5 is minus 134, which is definitely a parlayable number.
Yes.
Hey?
I love that. I don't even mind plus 180 on the over 3.5.
Yeah.
To be honest, that might be a side bet. But if we want to put that in a parlay,
so if we went Sabres, this is gonna be a nice number because the Sabres are plus 102. That's minus 134. Utah minus 149 is plus 489. So that's a nice wheelhouse. But just your thoughts on the Bruins and Avs here. Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun on the Boston.
Listen, the Bruins have had 2 wars already with the Panthers. And this is a team that considers themselves, one of the top teams in the National Hockey League. And I think they get ready and go up against the top team. But there's some teams that play up to the level of their competition and then maybe sort of ease off a little bit sometimes when they're playing against the lesser guys. I don't want to say that is Boston. That's a bunch of teams, I guess you could say. To me, they really come up big against the good ones. Colorado just is, they're a one-line team right now without any goaltending. And
the best part about this is that we're not even taking them to lose here. We're just taking the Bruins to score 3 goals. Right? So, if the Avs could very well win this game 5-3, who knows?
Yeah.
But you described them perfectly. They're a one-line team with no goaltending. So
pretty good one line, but still, is that good enough to beat a team like Boston? I don't think so. So we go Utah money line, Sabres money line. That's plus 102. That's a tough one, but I think we can get it. And then Boston over 2.5 goals in regulation.
Plus 489. Jake, the parlay maker. Where are you, Jake? Let's throw this one up there. We got it for you. Over 2.5. Bruins at the Avs. Sabres money line. Utah money line. Plus 489 pre-boost. That'll be a game. That'll be a bet that'll pop up on the combo cards at the top of the Coolbet page once you log in. Huss, anything else from the National Hockey League before we move on over to some football?
Well, just Tango's in the chat asking these questions. This is about the attendance. As I said before, putting your game up, your home opener up against a sold-out Bomber game.
Let me just clarify one more thing here, Huss. When you call it sold-out Bomber game, as a guy who covers CFL around the league, I'm going to say when you put your game up against the biggest draw in the country, that's what Bombers home games are. It's just that simple. That's what this is not a Winnipeg guy making this claim, but that's what it is. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers home games are the biggest draw in the country, regardless of sport. So if you're going to be a team in the same market, that's tough. That's tough to do.
Yeah, the Jays weren't pulling in 32 or 30, whatever it is, whatever sold out stadium is this year. It was done. They've got something going on there. I guess the bottom line is it just, this city isn't big enough. And if you did a Venn diagram of people that have season tickets to the Bombers and season tickets to the Jets, there's a big overlap. And the other thing is, again, God knows I'm now doing exactly what I've been doing for the last couple of days, but you're working on getting new season ticket holders. Many of them are Bomber people. And then they come in the first game, they got to choose between the two. It was not an ideal way to start off the year. But the games were good. Jets won. And a big weekend coming up. We got Hellebuck night celebrating the 2-time Vezina Trophy winner on Friday, and then Brian Little for our first WST game on Sunday afternoon. So hopefully you can join us. But yeah, we're looking good here. I'd like to get back into the win column tonight with this parlay. I love this Boston pick. I still have faith that the Bruins, that the Sabres, I should say, can get a win. The fight, and who was it? It was Krebs and Dahlin.
It was Rasmus Dahlin. I didn't dive into the backstory on it, but Rasmus Dahlin went low on Krebs in the neutral zone on a rush drill, and then Dahlin got up and immediately went after him. It wasn't like Krebs was like, "Why are you hitting me?" Went after him. Dahlin was sending some sort of message to Krebs. It was he went low on him and then he went after him. So I don't know. Is anybody? I mean, if you're watching or listening right now, did that full story come out? I'm sure they're kind of keeping it under wraps. This isn't Amazon Prime. Although that'd be great to have the backstory on this one, but I haven't seen the main cause of it just yet, nor do I really care. The storyline itself is intriguing to see what went down in practice.
Yeah. You know what? I was out with some friends last night for dinner, and we were talking about just whatever, a bunch of hockey stuff. We got in, and one of the guys had a couple absolutely hilarious Lindy Ruff stories. But like Lindy's back as the guy in Buffalo. He's a bit of a no-nonsense guy. But I mean, they just made, like, it's not just Darlene's not just anyone on that team. He's now the captain.
He's the captain. He's the leader, man. He's
so I'm not sure we'll ever get to the bottom of it, but we may have to, we'll DM Mike Harrington or some of the guys in Buffalo, my buddy Joe Yurden, see what's going on with that. But let's see if we can get that bump. All business tonight for the Sabres going into Pittsburgh.
The only game on the sked tonight, we're staying away from Huss. Just any general thoughts on where the lean might be in the Maple Leafs at home against the Kings, minus 175. The total is set at 6.
Well, the Kings, like the Kings have had sort of an interesting. I mean, like they got that win against Buffalo. That was their first one on the road. They lose a tight one to the Bruins. And then they lost 8-7 to the Senators in overtime in one of the craziest games of the year.
This is their 4th straight game on the road to start the season.
Big Save Dave coming in. What's the Leafs team total tonight?
Let's take a peek. Leafs team total is over 2.5, minus 211. Over 3.5 is plus 112.
Oh, I'm looking at unders, Dusty. I'm looking at unders.
The unders, because of Big Save Dave. we view Big Save Dave differently in our market.
Hey, well, listen, and here as well. He, I mean, 2 years ago when he was on the Jets, the Jets played Connor Hellebuck, I want to say, the last 14 games of the season because they had blown their big lead. They were hanging on to a playoff spot, and Bonus just did not trust Dave even for one game. So he didn't do it. But he had an amazing season last year. He actually had a great, great year last year. I didn't dive too much in to that 8-7 game before, but I'm pulling up the box score. Kemper was in for all of them. Wow. 8 goals against on 41 shots. But you had to take that for PLD.
And they were heavily outshot by the Sens in that game too.
I would think that they focus a little bit more on their own end.
The under 3.5 is minus 143. Under 2.5 is plus 162. Jake is over in the chat saying, guys, I'd lean Leafs and Matthews to get off the schneid. What's a Matthews goal tonight? Minus 136.
Minus 136. Yeah, he's frustrating a lot of people that have picked him very high in their draft.
One more quick shout out on the National Hockey League. Yes, Puljujärvi to get a point, plus 155. That was brought up by Big Uke in the chat. So
you guys love your Yes Puljujärvi.
There's some nice value on the big fella.
I was looking at player points in this Buffalo game. No. Okay. I'm not sure this I would imagine this is a typo.
Okay, if not.
But maybe it's not. Bruins at Avalanche. Pull up the player points.
Let me see if I'll instantly tell you who you're talking about. Let's see here.
You'll see it right away.
Those numbers aren't usually on the board. That's like a McDavid thing where you can't get them over a point. You have to go over 2.5.
Minus 1301 for over half a point? Like, is that?
If you bet $5 on it, you win 38 cents.
The thing is, I'm looking the fact like Rantanen is minus 469. So, I mean, just out of principle, I might bet under half a point at plus 610 for McKinnon.
Just on the value of it,
and under half a point for Rantanen at plus 305. I mean, those guys not getting a point in a game against a good team like Boston. Did you say, is Swayman playing?
Swayman is listed at, he's was he listed as likely? He's unconfirmed. He's unconfirmed right now, so they haven't confirmed either way.
I don't know if I've ever seen a number like that before. Like McDavid last year at times, I mean, there was the odd like minus 700 something, 8, like.
But after that, they it's not even an option. Like McDavid this year, you can't get him over a point. You have to be over 1.5.
It's 1.5 points. That's what it is.
So plus 610 for McKinnon to not get a point tonight.
McKinnon over 1.5 points is still minus 129.
Yeah, the under 1.5 is minus 102. Wow. Jeez.
Well, we said they were a one-line team.
We did say, you know what?
He's bearing a heavy burden now.
These are the numbers of a one-line team. Okay. Let's keep moving. Do you want to keep moving? We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
keep moving. Let's switch gears. We'll go over to football. We're going to power rank the Canadian Football League teams, the 6 playoff teams. We'll get to that in a second. But 2 trades yesterday in the National Football League, Huss. Devontae Adams goes to the Jets, and then Mari Cooper goes to the Buffalo Bills. Which move do you think makes a bigger impact for the team?
For the team? Well, probably the Adams to the Jets, just because of his connection with Rodgers. I mean, I think he can sort of show up and pick up, and he'll be good. Big picture, though, I think the Bills are a much better team than the Jets, are a much more realistic force when it comes to the playoffs. And I think adding Amari Cooper's big. I mean, as a Chiefs guy, I was devastated. I was kind of hoping that the Chiefs would be able to get Amari Cooper. The funny thing, you know what's going to happen? They traded for Cooper, so they cut MVS. Like, has he signed with the Chiefs yet? I was expecting that to come out any day.
Of course.
And like, I don't really think that he is the answer, but we've seen this before with Kansas City. I mean, picking up guys that were somewhat familiar. I'll tell you what, I'd far rather have MVS than Sky Moore. I still don't know how he still maintains his spot on the roster, considering his lack of production, his lack of reliability, the drops that he's got. But I think they're both nice ads for both of those teams. The Jets are far more desperate, obviously. But the Bills got a good one in Amari Cooper. And you just got to feel happy for Amari getting out of Cleveland. Oh. Like, have you seen some of these stats of what the Browns have done so far this year? I mean, it's historic.
I saw one. I was listening to a podcast last night, and or was it a podcast? Or I was listening to a podcast about both trades last night. No, it was a podcast. It was a CBS Sports podcast. I think Dave Richards from CBS was basically saying like a third. Like Amari Cooper has something like 59 targets so far this year. A third of them were graded as uncatchable. Like a third of the balls thrown in his direction weren't even catchable for a guy like Amari Cooper, who last year had some pretty good sort of, deeper analytics, kind of supporting his case as still being elite. So he's going to go to a place where, he was getting targeted a decent amount, but the targets were awful in Cleveland. Now he's going to go to Buffalo, where he should be just as heavily targeted, but they're going to be better targets. I think he's in a real nice spot, buddy.
For sure. Okay, here's Bill Barnwell has cranked out some just incredible stats here. One of them, here we are. Since 2007, 566 quarterbacks have thrown at least 100 passes in the first 6 games of their team's respected seasons. So at first 6 games, quarterback throwing 100 passes, there's been 566. By first downs per pass attempt, Bo Nix's 2024 season is tied for 564th out of 566. Deshaun Watson is 566. He is 566. And then there was the other one that I'm going to have to pull this up on the gram here. And I believe it is angry Browns fans. Yeah, here we are. All right. Oh no, that's the Amari Cooper analysis. Yeah, the Browns offense here, courtesy of Bill Barnwell again. Great follow for you stat heads out there. The Browns offense, out of 798 teams through 6 games since 2000. Red zone trips tied for 784. So 784th out of 798. Offensive penalties, 795th. Yards to go on third down, 795th. And again, out of 798 teams since 2000, their third down conversion rate is 797th. And then you look at their schedule, and they have played the worst defenses. Their first 5 games were against the worst defenses in the National Football League. And then, of course, they played Philly on the weekend. So what Deshaun Watson and the Browns are doing right now is absolutely historic. And, you know, Kevin Stefanski is being held hostage right now, I'm pretty sure.
He can't be making that call still, right? There's no way.
He's not. I'm expecting the next time they ask him, are you sticking with Deshaun Watson, is for him to say, yes, Deshaun Watson is our quarterback, while holding up today's newspaper like a hostage video. Because, I mean, he's getting paid right now. This is a guy that's won the Coach of the Year twice. There is zero. He knows exactly what's going on right now. The only thing I can think of is that they are playing him in the hopes that he will get hurt, and that they can just maybe there's insurance on the contract or something like that.
And then they just go to Jameis. Jameis is the other guy there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have gone to Jameis 2 weeks ago. Like, it makes no sense. I love your theory of they just keep playing him in hopes that he gets hurt.
It's crazy to think that, but honestly, that is where we're at right now with Cleveland. But let's do this CFL exercise right now. We get to it.
So we've got 6 teams, playoff tickets booked. You've got the Bombers, the Riders, and the Lions in the West. You've got the Alouettes, the Argos, and the Red Blacks in the East. Now, do we want to rank these on like their ability to win the Grey Cup, or do we want to rank them on how they're playing right now?
I think it's got to be likelihood to win the Grey Cup.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, then let's go by spot. If we have to debate it, we have to debate it. Who's the least likely team of this group?
Ottawa.
Agreed. 100%. They are not even remotely close to the team that they were for the first 6-7 games. Who did they lose? They lost a guy in the middle of their defense. Oh, God, what was his name? They lost him to injury, and it's just complete. Man, I should know this. Anyway, they lost him to injury, and they've just kind of fallen off ever since. So, okay, Ottawa at 6. Who's at 5?
BC.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Who else could it possibly be?
It has to be BC. It has to be BC. I mean, the only one that I would have thought maybe is Toronto, but Toronto's in a much better spot than the BC Lions right now.
Toronto, man, that defense is.
You just saw it firsthand, yeah.
Oh, big time. 7 sacks. Like, I will put Toronto. I'll put Toronto at 4 on this list, but I'm telling you right now, 1 to 4, I think you can make an argument for just about every one of those teams. The Toronto at 1 might be tough, but Like if Toronto beats Montreal and goes to the Grey Cup, I will not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. No.
I think they could absolutely get there.
Let's just quickly stick on BC for a second. They're going to Vernon Adams this week.
Yeah.
It's been Vernon. I don't know if you saw it, but the pregame pump-up speech, Vernon Adams as the veteran backup quarterback is handling that, and Rourke is kind of just standing off to the side. I said this morning on our show, like,
so weird.
When VA got hurt, that was in Winnipeg, was it not? I was doing that game. It was in Winnipeg.
Yeah, shutout, 25 zip.
Going into that game, he was the runaway front runner for MOP. We had been talking about him being on pace for 6,000 yards for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and their offense was looking like an all-time offense. He gets hurt. They started Dola Gala once or twice. Then Rourke becomes available. They bring him back in. Mm-hmm. They sprinkled in VA in 1 second half. Nothing worked. They ended up going to Chase Bryce. Now I think they're basically going back to Vernon Adams, trying to rekindle the first month of the season and hope that he can carry them on a miraculous Grey Cup run to get to the home Grey Cup. And it's it's asking a lot of VA when he hasn't played in like 7 weeks.
This is why they're 5 on my list.
Yeah.
This is basically a Hail Mary. And the other part of it is like whatever. I mean, it could be Rourke, is capable of playing a lot better, I think. VA might come in and get the offense going. They can't stop anybody. They can't stop anyone. And if you think that defense is going to get better in the cold in Saskatchewan or Winnipeg, you're insane. So to be honest, I am writing off BC, although maybe this will be famous last words. I think that we're going to see a Grey Cup of either Winnipeg or Saskatchewan and either Montreal or Toronto. And I really do think that, this conversation between Winnipeg and Saskatchewan is all going to come down to the Bombers and Alouettes game in a week Saturday. Like, I think if the Bombers beat Montreal and they've got the game at home, I think they're likely to come back to the Grey Cup and potentially win it. If they blow that game, though, and lose their last 2 and Saskatchewan beats Calgary, which I think is basically a foregone conclusion.
That's going to happen.
And all of a sudden, Saskatchewan's getting the Bombers at Mosaic, assuming the Bombers beat BC at home and they've got the bye week. I think that changes everything. Now, listen, the Riders have not won in the past. This is a new group. The Bombers do have that pedigree of coming up big when they need it. But like we said last week, and I know I'll be talking with Hammer today on CFL 110, to me, like, try not to get over the fact that the Bombers swept the Banjo Bowl and the Labor Day Classic. Those were tight games. They were very close games. Saskatchewan's defense is really good. And Trevor Harris, man, he's had a great season and he's still slinging it. So I'm going to say Montreal 1, Winnipeg 2, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's like a 2A and 2B for me with Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. You just laid it out. However that plays out. And I will be very selfish here. I would prefer the Bombers lose in Montreal because then I'm calling that Riders Stamps game, and there's a lot on the line in that game for the Riders.
Yeah.
It's a huge, huge game. So
what would it take for them to lose that game outside of a miracle?
The game would have to be canceled due to weather. Like it'd be pretty fun. Mosaic will be rocking if that happens. And it's going to happen like the hour. Like it's a 2:00 game for the Bombers and a 6:00 game for the Riders, or I guess 1 and 5. One way or the other. By then,
people are going to be tailgating, paying attention to that game. And if Montreal does win, there will be a buzz in that crowd. Listen, it'd be great for the Riders, frankly, that need it a lot more than the Bombers, just with where their sort of fan bases eroded a little bit, although I think they're getting people back. They just want to believe, have faith in the organization. Despite going 2 months without winning a game, I think they're there. But I'll tell you what, regardless of where it is, a Bombers-Riders West final will be.
I can't wait.
amazing, assuming that is what we get. And I got a hard time seeing BC beating either of these teams on the road, especially after what we saw last night with them, or last week with them getting absolutely massacred by Sask.
Yeah, their defense, even if VA figures out the offense, their defense is, I mean, it's awful. I mean, the BC Lions defense is not going to win a Grey Cup. I would be stunned if that was the case. But the Riders are scared. I think any one of those four teams that it was a Darius Pickett. Darius Pickett was the guy I was thinking of. He got hurt against Hamilton a month ago and has not played since, and he was just so important in every aspect of their defense. So that's killed the Red Blacks. The Lions don't have the defense to win a Grey Cup. But those other four teams, man, any one of those four teams could be Grey Cup champion. And it would not surprise me in any way.
And I will be stunned if the Final Four is not Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I think that's I was going to say with what we've seen lately, I was just going to say, who would surprise you more as an upset, BC or Ottawa?
Today, Ottawa.
Yeah.
And
I hesitated. I was initially going to say Ottawa just because we've been trashing BC and they'd have to play a Riders team that is playing extremely well right now. But
maybe, listen, maybe VA. I mean, it's not like VA hasn't done it before. Like he hasn't, he was playing at a really high level, and maybe they can catch a little early season magic in a bottle and, feel good at least going into that game.
They looked unstoppable until the shutout in Winnipeg when VA got hurt. Like it was ridiculous. They looked better offensively than the peak Bombers did offensively during their run. For that 5-6 week window, it was crazy.
Yeah. The thing is we all know in playoffs, especially in these outdoor games, it really does come down to running the ball, the line of scrimmage, and defense. And they're way behind those other two teams when it comes to that category.
I would argue not with running. Stanback's like top 3 in the league this year in yards, but offensive line and defense, 100%. I mean, I completely agree with you on that. Stanback's had a nice year, though.
Fair.
Like, who does lead the league in rides? Brady's still, how far up is he? Yeah, he's at 13-18. Stanback's second at 11-47. And then Kadeem Carey, another quiet 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
For Kadeem Carey.
No, they're just kind of doing it there in anonymity in Toronto. Streveler still leads the league in touchdowns. Hilarious.
Justin Rankin in Edmonton has only played 10 games. Didn't even really start. I think he's had 2 starts. He's 6th in the league in rushing, 717 yards. So some fine work there.
The Elks have 3 running backs in the top 10.
Yeah. They run the ball well. Like when they've run the ball for 200 yards this year, they're 4-0. They just...
Any team, I would say any team that runs the ball for 200 yards.
Yeah, that's true. But like not many teams run the ball for 200 yards 4 times in a season, right? They just, I don't know. When they commit to the run, they can do it. They just didn't do it enough.
I'd be surprised if there's any other 200-yard rushing games this season. I don't think Brady's had one.
Rock Armstead had one, didn't he? His debut.
Oh, sure yeah. That's right. In Sask.
He had the 200-yard game. Yeah, 207. But yeah, as a team, maybe there would have been a few other 200-yard games, but the Elks have rolled up 4 of them, I believe, which is it's pretty impressive. But yeah, you're right. 3 running backs for Edmonton in the top 10 right now. I don't think all 3 will be back next year. That's a lot of mouths to feed. Probably in a perfect world, they probably go Rankin with Leak because he can return as well. I think Kevin Brown's a pretty good running back who could find himself on the market, depending on whatever his contract status is. Huss, before we go, we got 5 minutes left. Major League Baseball playoffs. Where are we at right now? Your Mets are still going. Our Padres obviously eliminated.
Yeah,
we're
fully in on the Mets. We're fully in on the Mets right now. And here we go. Walter Buehler, 0-1 with a 10.80 ERA, going against Luis Severino tonight. 1-0, a 4.50 ERA. We've got again, this is close to a pick 'em, I believe. Yeah. Dodgers minus 111, Mets minus 105. Citi Field is going to be bananas. We've got a massive billboard in Manhattan with Grimace wearing a Mets hat saying it was always going to be something about this. So they're leaning into the Grimace thing. They got the split. I'm on the Mets tonight. I'm on the Mets at minus 105. We have to wait for the Guardians and the Yankees until tomorrow right now. Obviously, the Yankees with a stranglehold on that series. How good would a Subway Series be?
Well, we were asking this of Matt Kromala today. I think we brought it up as well. I mean, if the Yankees come out, and I don't hate the Yankees, but I don't care for the Yankees. But the Yankees coming to the AL, I'll take either the Subway Series or Ohtani versus Judge. Like, either way, ratings for that should be huge for Major League Baseball. Like, it's just a couple of dream scenarios right there.
I want the Dodgers to lose. Like, I hate it where you just spend twice as much money as every other team and end up winning. I mean, I guess you get what you pay for, and they're willing to do it.
They deferred Ohtani's contract 10 years down the road or whatever it is, and yeah. Found all
sorts of stuff. The Mets are the team. Like, if you have no skin in the game and you're just tuning into the baseball playoffs, how do you not root for the Mets? And listen, they've been playing great. Their bullpen is like night and day from what it was in the regular season. You're getting those big hits when you need it. I'm on the Mets tonight, minus 105, and I will be tuning in. That's what, a 7:00 game. Nicely done. 6:00 out in Edmonton.
Duck Dad over in the chat says, guys, Apple season hit last night. It's one of the combos. I like the looks of it again tonight. I'm looking at it right now. Crosby assist, Marner assist, McKinnon assist, plus 312. So it's a decent little number for three guys.
That is definitely a JBM special, the apple picking season. What else do we have in the combos? We've already got the partner parlays already up. Buffalo, Utah, and Boston over 2.5 goals. Nice. This boosted to plus 563 on that.
That's nice.
NHL Super Boost tonight. Matthews to get a point. Pasternak to get a point. Plus 105. From minus 125. The points from the point. Erik Karlsson to get a point in the Penn Sabres game. Morgan Riley to get a point in the Leafs Kings. And Charlie McAvoy in the Avs Bruins. Boosted to plus 689. You just mentioned the apple picking season. Tonight we got Crosby, we got Marner, we got Mac Innan, plus 312. And then base hunters. Teoscar Hernandez, total bases over 0.5. Ohtani over 1.5. Lindor over 1.5. That's to plus 640. We got a strikeout one too. Severino strikeouts over under 4.5. It's over 4.5. Basically, Bueller and Severino both to get 5 strikeouts or more, plus 361.
Winnipeg Sports Talk and CFL 110 back-to-back today, Huss. What's coming up on WST?
Yeah, lots coming up. We'll going to be breaking down the latest on the Jets coming out of practice. Looking ahead to a big weekend, celebrating Connor Hellebuck and Brian Little. A little bit of CFL and Bomber talk as well. Going to get into the NFL. Feinberg's going to jump on, and we're going to check in on the Moose, who had a great start to the season. A lot of these young guys that everyone was real horny for to potentially make the club. Getting off to a great start in the American Hockey League. So Dan Fink, the voice of the Moose, is going to pop on, and we'll talk about these young players in the organization knocking on the door to try to get in.
That'll be coming up at the top of the hour over on Winnipeg Sports Talk here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We've got the oil stream with myself and Tom Gazzola as we break down a lot of different things to discuss from the Oilers' first win of the season. They head out on a quick 2-game trip with stops in Nashville and Dallas. We'll get into that on the oil stream today. Thank you for riding with us on the Lock Shop today. Best of luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, gang.